The PGA Tour season kicks off next week, so there's no better time to talk about driving distance. This chart down here represents a driving range, where each golfer in a bay is the average PGA Tour player going back to 1985, and the y-axis plus the dots represents how far each year the average tour player was driving it off the tee. For about 10 years, here on the left starting in the mid-80s, the average driving distance holds steady around 260 yards. In the mid-90s, advances in science and materials started to have a huge impact though. Titanium drivers replaced wood, and a few years later, the multi-layered golf ball was introduced. So over the course of just 15 years here shown in green, driving distance increased by 11%. After a brief plateau, distance started to rise again in 2015, this time not from a single breakthrough, but a combination of factors powered by science. Things like improved ball materials, modern club design, specialized training, and launch monitors that give players direct feedback to optimize swing efficiency and their smash factor. The result is up here, where today the average drive on tour is just under 303 yards, raising the question of whether that extra distance leads to better scoring. This next chart explores that, with the average score from low to high on the y-axis and the driving distance on the x-axis from left to right. Then each green dot here represents every player on tour last season. As we fill in the grid, what you'll mostly see is a blob with very little relationship between distance and scoring. You of course have Rory McIlroy, who sits here on the bottom right as the second longest hitter and the second best scorer. But scan to the left and you have players like Russell Henley, a top 5 scorer and near the bottom in driving distance. Even Scotty Scheffler down here, the best player on tour, sits around just the 60th percentile of the longest 100 players in driving distance. It goes to show that length alone doesn't predict who wins, and golf requires precision across many skill sets. But the sport is clearly longer than it was 30 years ago, and courses have had to respond, which we can see with a sample hole drawn up here. When you think of the right changes to make, it may seem logical that moving tee boxes back would reduce the advantage of long hitters. In practice, it can do the opposite. Added length can give the longer hitters in blue here much more freedom to be aggressive, while shorter hitters in red are pushed into safer options that actually punish them on the next shot. You see, ideally, every tee shot creates a decision between risk and reward, and that's often achieved more effectively through other changes. Repositioning bunkers or growing rough in key landing areas can create real consequences for missing the preferred line, increasing the importance of precision over power. It's all worth paying attention to this PGA Tour season, and special shout out to Dow for their cutting edge materials that help drive high performance in sports like golf.